Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with part two of the Bowerman Field Asset Service case. This is a class action lawsuit defining labor. Actually, some people asked a question, and it's a very legitimate question. How is it going to help? And who might it help? I believe it helps labor, and I believe it helps anybody who wants to get in front of this right now. And the reason I say that is because it, wow, where did, oh my goodness. I was posting the first one, so maybe I better go back and redo what I was doing before, huh? A couple things here. Let's, you're going to love it. This is so hard for me not to just jump up and down. But I got to address this. Who's it going to help? Is it going to hurt business? This is my take on this. I'm gonna pick on my favorite girl back there in Virginia right now, Kim Savage. Kim thinks it's going to hurt her as a business. I personally don't think it will hurt Kim as a business because the companies that this is going to hurt are the failed business models that NAMFS has built their organization on. These pyramided strictly order mill companies that turn around and sub the work out, take a percentage of the work. Those companies got to go. Why? Because under this scenario, the banks are going to have to start looking. The money people are going to have to start looking for local talent. And this is what I mean. A long time ago, I said the work needs to come back locally. The banks, why is a U.S. bank mortgage in Reno, Nevada, on a property in Reno, Nevada? There's U.S. banks in Reno, Nevada. Why would that mortgage be in a bank in Kentucky? It makes no sense. It makes no sense for the people in Kentucky to have to service a property in Nevada when they have a branch of U.S. Bank right there. Bring this work back local. You start putting other people back to work. Just a thought, just food for thought. But you would have a company like Alladay LLC had, where we covered a big, like a 12,000 square mile radius. We covered a lot of area in the Reno Lake Tahoe area on the California border right there. But we covered a massive amount of area, really. But what I did was I had 5 field supervisors that did it. We had an office. We had meetings once a month. We had employee meetings once a month. We would, we actually had a local pizza parlor let us use the back room. We had like 20, 30 people would show up for the monthly meeting, and then we'd have lunch and, of course, spell things out that way. But we ran a W-2 company. Everybody was W-2. Now, let me read a couple sections of this here, because this is what is really the crux of what's going on. While class members may have had the right to work for others, many did not, and none worked for any other entity more than 30% of the time. Class certification order. Plaintiffs contend the work performed by vendors is wholly integrated into. Now, you can plug in, I'm just going to leave it blank. You can plug in whatever order mill you're working for right now into this sentence. This is how massive. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new game in town. I'm telling you right now. This is going to rock the industry, and change is coming to property preservation as we know it now. No more are you going to be able, these people will not be able to dictate to you unless you have employee benefits. Employee benefits. Hey, okay, let's get back to this here. 30% of the time, plaintiffs contend that the work performed by vendors wholly integrated into MCS, FAS, AMS, PK Management, Cyprix, Safeguard, Operation, and as such, the vendors are not engaged in a distinct business occupation. They highlight the evidence that vendors could not interact directly with Safeguard, Cyprix, MCS, FAS, AMS, PK Management clients. We all know who the clients are, don't we? They're Fannie Mae, they're HUD, Bank of America, Wells Fargo Mortgage, Ocwen Mortgage, Altisource. We know who the clients are, don't we? None of them are Cyprix, Safeguard. Those aren't the clients. Keep that in mind. Could not interact directly with the clients. Number two, were required to do work according to. Again, let's plug any name into that equation right there. You highlight evidence. You have to do work according to Safeguard, Cyprix, PK Management, FAS, AMS. Specifications to their specifications. Had to post a sign on the property indicating maintained by Altisource, maintained by MSI, maintained by MCS, AMS, PK Management. We can go right down the line with the alphabet soup here, can't we? FAS, all of them. You put their sign in the window. That was something I had a problem with as Halliday LLC. I did the work. I'm not giving you credit for it. Let somebody call me. I did the work. Why should they call you because I did the work? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. That's a business. If you're a business, own what you do. I do. I don't know what else to say there. But that was a big problem I had with there. As you can see, did you see that sign in the back there? Property Preservation Services. Being performed by. That is a sign we stuck in the front yard when we were working, doing property preservation work. Because we were doing the work. We let everybody know we did the work. Had to post a sign on properties maintained by so-and-so, and again, plug any name, and had to add, and you can plug any company's name into here, ladies and gentlemen, had to add as additional insured on general liability, auto insurance, and excess policies for ongoing completed operations, and were required to waive their lien rights on, plug anybody's name into their serviced property. It is undisputed that vendors were prohibited from communicating directly with the clients and each other. How many times have you been told out there, oh, you don't want to talk to them, they'll try to steal your work? How many times have they pit the vendors against each other so you don't talk to each other? They're bad guys, they're this, they're that. Yeah. This limits the persuasiveness of the argument that they controlled a distinct businesses, since each of the class members personally performed property preservation work for, plug anybody's name into there, for PK Management, for Safeguard, for AMS, for FAS, for Altisource, for Cyprix. You can plug any name into there. At least 70% of the time, that fact, oh, I lost my place here, hang on. Plaintiffs prefer evidence that many vendors were so overwhelmed with work, Their businesses were essentially precluded from seeking opportunities. This all goes to one big, huge issue. And I have said this before over and over and over. When you get into the independent contractor employee issue, it is the amount of control. And all these indicators, ladies and gentlemen, get into control. Okay. Work done under principal's direction. Principal would be FAS or AMS or any of them. While this factor is largely duplicative, it is. It's under the control factor. But let's touch on a couple of the things here. FAS claimed that because you did it without any direct supervision, they're based in Texas. But here's what the court said to them. They ignore the fact that the record also demonstrates that vendors sometimes complete their work with substantial supervision from FAS. And while defendants mention it numerous times, the relevance of FAS being based in Texas eludes me. It has quality control inspectors in California whose job is to verify the work has been completed and the client specification. Now, you can plug any state in there, any company's name in there in the property preservation, ladies and gentlemen. Hello out there in all states across the country. Every single buddy has a walk-in lawsuit. This is a template for everybody to deal with what you got to deal with. Man. It does not verify the work or the results requiring the work done in a particular way or a particular timeline. Yeah, this you got to love this here, okay? They have quality control. The QC inspectors, they inspect the work. FAS may take issue with plaintiffs' inaccurate conflating verification with supervision. It fails to explain why before and during photo documentation is necessary if its only concern is with end results. End results, ladies and gentlemen. As plaintiffs cognitively frame it, FAS does not verify the results of the work by requiring the work to be done in a particular way or on a particular timeline or using specific products or repeatedly disciplining vendors for not meeting job specifications. All meaningful aspects of business relationship, including the price, the tasks to be performed, how to perform them, payment, and right to deal with buyers are controlled by PK Management, controlled by Cyprix, controlled by Altisource, controlled by Safeguard Properties, controlled by AMS, controlled by MCS, controlled by MSI. Are we getting the picture yet? All of your elements, you're not a business when all of those elements are being controlled by somebody else. You're a puppet on a string. I mean, I'm not saying that to be mean. It is a fact. This is what the courts are saying. This is no longer me, no longer the lunatic in the mountain back there in Tennessee saying this to you guys. This is the court, ladies and gentlemen, the court. The court. Now, and I'm not asking you to vindicate me. I'm just saying, hey, neener, neener, neener. I told you so. What can I tell you? What could I say, man? That's the gist of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the gist of it. Skill required. This factor tips to plaintiffs because the lack of skill required to do the vendor's work, including such tasks as taking out the trash, mowing the lawn, and cleaning a house. PK Management, Cyprix. You can put anybody's name in here, okay? Points to the other tasks, such as hazardous material transportation. Ding, 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 ding. They just admitted hazardous material transportation requires more money, more skill. Negotiate. Home Winterization requires more skill, training, negotiate. Roofing all require experience and skill in this area is critical. Even though the lack of skill required to complete work orders varies with the tasks, it remains true that vendors perform does not require a great deal of experience or skill for the work they do. The majority of the work they do. And although some additional training may be necessary for particular tasks identified by the order mill, they do not raise to the level of requiring skilled labor. The conclusion, one of FAS's arguments in this was that, there is skilled labor required, so it's not, come on, where do they advertise to hire people? General labor. That's where they hire. In the help wanted section, they look in general, hey, we need somebody to mow a lawn, and then they get you in there, they walk you through the business license, they walk you through the insurance requirements. And by the way, I believe somewhere in the middle here is a background check. They were saying something about the fifth factor, plaintiffs contend vendors are hired by so-and-so at the indefinite period of time not linked to any property. Plaintiffs point out that many vendors, hundreds of different properties, and the defendant highlights the most recent template of the contract is a 1-year term. The fact that it's at will and you can be fired at any time by them or you let go, that is a type of control that also went into the control on the deal there. The method of payment. Let me see here. Vendors are paid by the job, not by the hour. But FAS controls another way. This was another way to control, because how many times have you been told? Somebody said, they back charged me $10,000 that they're not 1099 for. The Ninth Circuit, whereas here there is ample independent evidence that the employer has a right to control the actual details of the employee's work, the fact that the employee is paid by the job rather than the hour appears to be of minute consequence. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're paid a commission or an hourly wage, they still control the aspect of that. Let me see. It provides that the client services through the vendors. Let me see. In its own words. Okay? And this is where I have always argued, ladies and gentlemen, that you cannot negotiate a contract and not include me and expect me or demand me to fulfill your contractual obligations. And this is the crux of what I've been saying for the last 6 years. FAS urges that it coordinates the provisions of property preservation services, but does not itself provide property preservation services. Okay, that's what they say in the thing. However, the court disagreed, and this is why. While FAS employs a substantial staff of coordinators and inspectors to oversee the operation, it would not have a business to coordinate without the work of vendors. It provides clients with property preservation services through the use of vendors. Field Asset Services business model is dependent upon vendors performing services that FAS provides. In its own words, Field Asset Services is the premier property preservation, REO, maintenance, and repair service company in the United States. That is Field Asset Services marketing materials. The vendors perform those very property preservation services that are the core of Field Asset Services, PK Management Services, Cypress Safeguards. You get the idea. Regular business. That makes you an employee. Without you, labor, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here for today. There's another part or two in here, and we'll come to them. But I'm going to get out of here. And just remember this. I am labor. You are labor. We are labor, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a good weekend. Let's all be safe out there.